In this video, we go through Season 1 of From, event by event, scene by scene. Let's give the spoiler warning right away. The recap covers all major events from the first episode to the finale, so if you haven't watched it yet, be prepared for plenty of spoilers. Late in the afternoon, a single sound echoes through the streets of the town. Boyd Stevens rings a bell in his hand, signaling people to get inside. Doors close, windows are locked. On each doorstep, a small carved stone is placed. Boyd's rules are clear. Everyone must be inside before dark. That night, Frank, drunk, fails to return home in time. While his wife is closing the windows, their young daughter hears a whisper. At the window appears a frail, white-haired old woman. "I'm your grandmother. Will you help me come inside?" Before her mother can intervene, the girl opens the window, and in an instant, the old woman turns into a monster and attacks. By morning, Frank staggers back home. The carved stone at the door is gone. Inside, there's been a massacre. Boyd tells him if you had nailed the window shut, they'd both still be alive, and takes Frank to the station. The town's unwritten laws are reinforced overnight by another tragedy. That same day, on a dusty road, an RV appears. Jim and Tabitha Matthews, their daughter Julie, and young Ethan. A fallen tree blocks the road, forcing them to take another route that leads into the town. Boyd stops the RV and, in a calm but firm voice, says, "Go straight, follow the signs, and you'll get to the highway." The Matthews do as they're told, but the road never ends. They keep looping past the same spot over and over. In the afternoon, another vehicle suddenly appears ahead, driving straight toward them in their lane. Jim swerves sharply to avoid a collision. The RV loses control and tips over a few meters ahead. Ethan's leg is trapped, and Tabitha is pinned inside. Boyd calls for help over the radio. Kenny and others rush to the scene. Dusk is approaching. Boyd decides quickly, "We do everything now." They cut through the metal of the hood and side panel to free Tabitha, pushing the pieces aside to get her out. Ethan's leg can only be treated inside with a doctor. Boyd stays in the RV with Jim and Dr. Christie. Kenny takes Tabitha and Julie to the colony house. As the sun sets, voices begin circling the RV. From outside the window, gentle, familiar human voices call Jim by name. "Jim, can we talk for a minute?" Without taking his eyes off the window, Boyd whispers, "Don't open the door." They're not human. He adds that as long as the carved stone stays in place by the door, they can't get in. Inside, Christy closes Ethan's wound. Jim blocks out the persuasive words coming from outside. That same night at the colony house, the new arrival protocol is put in place. Leader Donna ties Tabitha, Julie, and the unconscious Jade in separate rooms. On the first night, it's the only way to ensure no one panics and opens a door. By morning, everyone is untied, and Donna explains how they ended up in the town. One day a road, a tree, a single turn, and suddenly they were here, with no way out. Choosing Day arrives in the town. Newcomers must either live in the houses under Boyd's rules or join Donna's free-spirited colony house community. Julie defies her family and chooses the colony house. Jade still thinks it's all a joke, so Kenny takes him to the cemetery where they buried someone he lost. Among the wooden crosses, the silence speaks and Jade's confidence wavers. Boyd brings up the town's unusual box punishment for Frank, spending the night outside in a locked metal box meant as a deterrent. Regretful for failing to protect his wife and daughter, Frank accepts. At night, whispers surround the box. Beyond the metal wall, a smiling face appears, and by morning, another grave has been dug. Days pass. Ethan meets the town's oldest resident, Victor, who shows him a figure that appears repeatedly in his drawings, a boy dressed in white. "I've seen him too," Ethan says. Victor wanders the streets, claiming the trees are moving closer to the houses every day, his words hanging between madness and warning. Jim and Jade climb to the roof of the tallest building, the colony house, and begin assembling a radio from scavenged parts. While searching for cables and batteries from abandoned vehicles, they discover a burned-out police car and hundreds of rusted license plates from different states, as if collected from across the country. For a moment, Static breaks through on the radio. The signal trembles, but still no clear voice. Meanwhile, Sarah asks Christy in the clinic an unsettling question. If you had to do something bad to get people home, would you? Christy, far from her fiancé, answers, if it would save everyone, yes. That night, things take a dark turn. Sarah takes Ethan out to a farm and locks Tabitha in the barn. Sarah's brother rushes in, panics, and is accidentally killed in the struggle. When Father Katri arrives, he finds a lifeless body and Sarah covered in blood. Before the others arrive, he takes Sarah away and locks her in his basement. Time skips forward. That night at the Colony House, they celebrate Fatima's first year in town. Laughter, jealous looks, loud music. Kevin is lured by the gentle voice of a woman at the window and opens it to let her in. She slips inside and smiles that smile. Seconds later, screams echo in the hallway as the creatures flood in. Donna quickly loads the few survivors into a vehicle and drives them to the station. Ellis and Fatima barricade themselves behind the carved stone at the entrance and survive. Boyd and Father Katri are at the station entrance, frantically helping people inside, when a shadow stirs behind them. Katri turns his head and a hand grips his neck. By sunrise, the seat next to Boyd is empty. Boyd fulfills the priest's dying wish, freeing the captured Sarah from her cell and telling her, "I'm going into the forest. You're coming with me." They set out to find the source of the town's curse. As they move through the forest, the trees and paths seem to shift constantly, as if the forest itself is guiding them. At night, their tent is dragged by an unseen force. Boyd and Sarah are tossed around until everything suddenly stops. In the morning, they wake to find themselves in a chilling area covered in thick spider webs. They tear their way out and keep walking. Back in town, they try the radio again. This time, Jim manages to lock onto the frequency. Amid the static, a clear voice comes through. "Hey, Jim. Can you hear me? Your wife shouldn't dig that hole." Jim's blood runs cold. At that moment, in the house, the tunnel Tabitha has been digging collapses. She falls into darkness and wakes in an underground network. There, she meets Victor and sees signs that suggest something is sleeping beyond the walls. As the storm rages, Boyd and Sarah spot the light of a distant lighthouse and hear a horn. While heading toward it, Boyd trips over a root, falls hard, and twists his ankle. Struggling to get up, Sarah scans the area, and the boy in white suddenly appears before her. In a calm voice, he says, "Take him to the tree." Sarah helps Boyd to his feet and guides him to the trunk of a faraway tree. The moment Boyd steps inside, the ground disappears beneath him. He wakes at the bottom of a long, narrow vertical shaft stretching upward. No light, no way out. As the lightning fades in town, Jim runs into the house, calling Tabitha. The center of the house has collapsed, debris everywhere, but Tabitha is nowhere to be found. In the town square, an old bus slowly comes to a stop. Its doors open, and unfamiliar faces look out. As the season closes, more questions remain than answers. Where do the stones come from? Whose side is the boy in white on? Who is the voice on the radio? What does the underground network foreshadow? One thing is certain. In this town, every choice has a price, and every night brings a new test. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share your theories in the comments. Before Season 4 begins, recaps of Seasons 2 and 3 will also be released, so fans can refresh their memory and newcomers can catch up on this incredible series. See you in the next video.